This man had the honour of putting his name on to Simon Crafar, who's got Massimo Rivola, a pretty racing seat.
I think we have a better bike than the result we are getting, but wait for the start. I'm very curious to see now. Race, so if we can...
Current plight, some angry... Fabio Quartararo just...
Is not anymore a track which doesn't suit the Ducati. Hot condition with this heat.
Other two spots within the top 8 occupied by the factory. Pace to better his sprint showing yesterday.
Around a 1:21.4 they as well. So the riders certainly have not had the prep time. Italy in Mugello. Simon Crafar just saying previously before, double winner in the Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup all the way back to ring. But he wants the big one. He wants the 25 to see. Although the man they all 15 lap sprint. He goes from the back of that front. Welcoming stunner coming your way without the Saxon. Marc Marquez sadly ruled out through to withdraw from this German. Marquez firmly in the fight for German Grand. Now left on his lonesome as the HRC, as though isn't it on the dominant Ducati. Peco Bagnaia leads the weekend. 21 points clear of sprint, a weekend crowd as well. The buzzing atmosphere, especially there is your championship standings there. Peco Bagnaia, 151 points adrift, wasn't he? A Quattro after this gone to be a Quattraro, won here last year. Will we see a new name as a full throttle? And we are underway. Luca Marini got a good launch on that. Rockets away on that factory KTM. He's got the inside line. The section, Bagnaia squeezed Marini out wide. He takes second place.
Side line into the first corner. We got at the inside of Brad Binder. That got away well either.
Bezzecchi into sweeping through the high-speed turn 7, that fourth gear, 160 km/h of Bagnaia.
And Joan Zarco is trying to get on with it first. Spargo behind him, who is on that soft rear tyre.
Just like an 11, he led going into turn 11. Large came on through. Bagnaia, Marini, that was a real tough third sector there for Miller. His problems seem to have...
In these early stages, look at Binder trying to go around the outside.
With clear track ahead of him, quarter of a second clear to the first time.
He's certainly all over the back of Jack with Marini. Look how close it's punching up as Aleix Espargaro now gets him.
Tomorrow, two title contenders from last year, trying to...
Here comes Brad Binder then coming back through on Aleix Espargaro's place.
Just a block pass there, was it, from Binder? Nothing. You saw Aleix Espargaro just have to check up there, didn't he, on the factory? Trying to continue his golden run as well in this journey. The Ducati's behind him, weren't able to attack him on the brakes into turn. And then he's going to hit the front for the first time, just as he made the move here on Balvis, his favourite overtaking off spot. And now Martin picks up the baton.
Bagnaia didn't really see him again in the remainder of the sprint, and also make sure he doesn't allow Luca Marini to come through as well.
First corner crash, which left him 91 points behind in the World Champs. Try and work his way now back into podium contention. Zarco up inside.
Not have the pace to go with Jorge Martin.
History, exact same thing here in the main Grand Prix. Binder on the inside, compromised his exit there a little bit, didn't he, Brad Binder? They all bunch up behind the South Africa, just as he did in the sprint yesterday. Once he's hit the front, he gets the hammer.
There's a Marco Bezzecchi once again going side by side there into
nowhere near the point scoring places. Now then, Bagnaia, just his problem though, trying to work out what to do. Find nearly a couple of tenths in that third sector of Alex Marquez in turn 13. Bagnaia learned from the studying those laptops last night inside that.
Ahead of him, so Binder having got clear of his teammate Miller.
Putting pay to Zarco's podium hopes here. A long, long way to KTM in turn number 11. He's now dishing contact between him and Miller. Zarco on the...
Turning into a similar story from Mugello, isn't it, where Miller was pretty competitive 7th place, but he is 3 seconds off the race leader.
This wide he was just using a bit of poke there on that Ducati battling at the Saxon Ring pre-season.
So far halfway around Martin now. Bagnaia said his personal best lap last time, adding more pain for Jack Miller. Yeah,
Miller's getting a more. The Australian to turn 12, he just got for slightly wide, didn't he, there? But the caddy colleagues, Martin initially set the fastest lap of the race. On your screens there, as you can see, a 1:21.2.
Bagnaia, Marini, Binder and Zarco. Here is Martin then, who halfway around this lap is half of the Grand Prix, and the longer it wore on, Martin...
Jorge Martin, going to be really fascinating to
Vinales is out. Zarco sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but
this Grand Prix over, ruined, wrecked by another tech issue. Then Vinales just cruises rather disconsolately back into
the pit lane there, so hopefully we've got away with that one. Here's Brad Binder though, firmly on the rear wheel of Luca Marini's Mooney BR46.
5 in P5 over the line, just another personal best lap at 1:21.300.2. So Zarco very, very quickly. Bezzecchi launches it late on the inside of Miller into first corner.
All of that as Johan Zarco looked like he was ever so slightly wide there. He's in on Marini. Binder up to the inside. He's not allowing Marini.
Rear ride height device squatting on the KTM as he tries to pick up the drive. Go down over 37 points available next weekend in Assen. The field have gone through the very loud pit lane. Let's go and
2 cylinders of that V4 and
steer his season back on course a little bit. He's found nearly 0.2 of a second in the
win so far. He was under constant pressure from Joan here. Of course, he's so good at leading races from the front, setting to battle. Is Bagnaia going to try and force Jorge Martin?
Here comes Zarco and his beloved Torini. I don't think there's any corner on the Grand Prix calendar
when he went down there, but other than that, it is the signature he needs to make in the first half of this Grand Prix before he comes into.
That's not really easy, is it, when you're flat out in 5th gear through the scary drop? All about his focus, all about his concentration. Number 14 was just over 4:10.
Martin and Bagnaia in the mid-21s. The rear tyre of his teammate Luca Marini, so they set for a battle over 5th place.
2 drops to under 0.4 of a second. And managing the tyres over the longer race distance. Bagnaia now what? He's going to be a couple of tenths
from out Ducatis because Martin's coming under pressure.
Now look at this, Bagnaia, he can almost reach.
Reigning world champion who now shadow. Binder's been able to get himself a little bit of a breathing space on that
corner. What have you made of his weekend so far through turn 11?
yeah, but the tricky thing is to stay on the track.
Yeah, he's got the bravery and the skill, hasn't he? No, engaged through the first corner. Bezzecchi was briefed. Michelin rear tyre, Quattararo still circulating.
Or his teammate right behind him, they're battling for the final 4 points position. Times back with the race leaders, put a marker down to Peco Bagnaia to say that I am hang on from Bezzecchi. Last time around Bezzecchi went into turn 1.
46 Ducati, this time around though he has made it. Jorge Martin just issuing another reminder, still holds on to an advantage. Tardozzi on Quattararo Mugello last weekend. After fracturing his ankle, he find a way through on Brad Binder to make it a 4.
This momentum that Martin is carrying through the recent race can buffer over Zarco. Fabio Quattararo
are out in sex. It's Binder. Binder's gone down. Brad looks really, really groggy. Of course, for an all Ducati rostrum again.
Bezzecchi Marini behind Zarco too. That leaves Jack Miller turn 9, isn't he? He's already wide there and he just has to dunk.
The rear tyres dropped off. He's
50 kilometres an hour. The first ever Ducati all top 5 in the hands of Loris Capirossi, still very much a prominent member, who in turn has a very lonely ride to third. Much the same motorcycle underneath Martin, and now Bagnaia dropping down, line this one up, and Bagnaia decides this is the champion in P1.
Is that the decisive moment on lap? Martin needs to strike back immediately. He can't allow Bagnaia to get into his...
Been watching Jorge Martin for these first 20 laps or so.
So Martin is hanging on for the moment, but Bagnaia is in the...
We thought it though from the top step of the podium. That's not decided, is it? Because
Bagnaia... Morbidelli, they're 13th and 14th.
Yeah, this is building up to a grandstand finish.
An attack. I'm worried for Jorge.
On board, thanks for that, Simon. They're side by side, aren't they, in the braking zone for turn number. He's building up to be a stunner in the Saxon ring.
A bit wide there, but he's able to bring it back to a late apex through.
2 points heading to Assen next weekend. If they did that in Le Mans, Mugello, Jorge Martin and
Spargo, he's in the high 22s now. He lost a place. The soft rear tyre are starting to pay the price.
By just under 0.2 of a second. Was the world champion on that previous circuit. Zarco and him dipped back into the 22s.
5th, but almost he can't reach out and touch the rear.
He's coming through on the curbs. Bagnaia and Martin try and work her way through on Martin, but with
Bagnaia chose the wise option.
Very, very quickly, 2 seconds behind Zarco. Move through that fast 5th gear.
We'll have more than an interest in what's going on up here between Martin. That is a big enough advantage as Bagnaia.
Oh, the top 2 men in the world championship coming.
Share down the start finish straight as Bagnaia again.
He's down through turn number 7. A lap and enough to swoop on his inside through 11.
It looks like Martin is quicker. Bagnaia getting into a good position.
Corner. Front tyre on rear brink of a brilliant second career big.
Lost a 10 to Bagnaia. This is far from over yet.
Lead. We're coming down now to the final 2 quarters. 13 second, his first MotoGP win, and his last Arco does take 3rd place. That was over the